Talking sports. Wednesday. Let's go. We're a little later, but we had to get this in. It doesn't matter. Try to keep consistent for the fans, Rob, Gary, right? Got to keep it going, right?
I'll make it do what it do, baby.
Every week. Shout out to Rob. We appreciate you making a late entry for us, man. I know you're staying busy. We all staying busy, but we always love to talk sports. It's
Absolutely.
a thrill. It's a privilege. It's an honor. And, we can't wait for some future, obviously, things that are happening. And we're going to keep this going as always. So without further ado, shout out to our brother, JQ. He's apparently traveling. And we know that everyone loves his takes and his personality. So, we'll get him next week.
If you wanted no part of this 11 p.m. Eastern time start.
That's okay.
Hey, that was the old time slot, though, right? That was it. That's what we did every week before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's graduated. He's like, I don't want to do that anymore. Rob, how you feel this evening, sir?
Hey, doing great, man. Thank you guys for the adjustments. Even though it's 8:00 here in Vegas, you would think this is easier for me, but it was actually easier for me when I was on the East Coast and it was 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you're kind of you're at a weird time where you want to eat lunch or dinner, excuse me. So you're kind of at this kind of in between time. I get you. Even at
it seems like I'm always scrambling. So thank you all for your patience. But hey, I got asparagus for lunch in today, asparagus for dinner. We're doing good. Yesterday was National Chicken Wing Day, so I had some of that and it carried over a little bit to today. Had some chicken Madeira. So, hey, we're feeling good. I'm chickened up and asparagus up.
Wow, we need to record that, Gary. I've never heard him say he's asparagus out, man. That is a first.
He said up, not out.
I said up. I didn't say out.
What?
Yeah, he's hyped up on asparagus.
Man, we'll talk about it. How you feel this evening, Gary?
I'm doing good. I'm hyped up on asparagus, too. We had asparagus last night, and we had some left over, and Arnetta put it in the soup today. That was fantastic. Mm-hmm. It was a chicken wing and asparagus soup. No, it wasn't. But
man,
Andre, did you make your famous wings yesterday?
I did, man. It's man. The drill. Whenever we get together, that is something I'm gonna have to work on, man. I definitely appreciate you. Remember the wings, man? There's some baked wings. That was back in the day, Rob. So I appreciate the shout out, man. So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Shout out to the wifey for getting me this nice, hat here, celebrating Jackie Robinson, the Negro League. We always keep that going. So appreciate her always helping my addiction to hats, So yeah.
All right.
We got a lot of things to talk about, gentlemen. Let's get this party started here. We got a limited amount of time. We want to keep everyone out. And Rob, we appreciate you giving the topic. So let's kind of kick this off, if you will, with how to find us. As always, reach us on Twitter or X at the number 12 THMEN Sports. That's our Twitter handle. Follow us on YouTube, which is amazing. So the tag is at another 12-man sports. I'm actually going to put the captions on there right now so you guys can see what's happening with that. And then we are on Facebook, facebook.com/talking sports, the 12th man. Or if you put in 12th man sports, you will find us in that arena. We post a lot of things, and obviously Rob is going nuts. We appreciate all the sports takes. And Rob, I'm taking a compilation of those videos too, so keep doing it, man. We're gonna have those. There are gonna be some shorts that we're gonna put on the YouTube channel for sure too, man. So keep that going. Your work is not in vain, man. So Marcy showed me an old clip. She's like, remember whenever you guys had the mock draft in like 2011? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, we've got like literally all your mock drafts from back in the day, man. So almost 10 years ago, we've got all this. She's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, we've been keeping that up too. So it's been great. But
goes in the archives.
Yeah,
when Rob goes into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for sure. He does. He deserves that. Let's talk about a couple things here. We got to get these topics here because we were a little delayed here. But let's talk about some expectations for Travis Hunter in his rookie season. I was looking up this site called Big Cat Country. I believe that's the Jaguars site, if you will. And there's a fan polling, right? And they're expecting 75 catches, 1,000 scrimmage yards, and a couple interceptions. and they prop him. This is Vegas. They prop him as a plus 900 as offensive rookie of the year and plus 1,000 for defensive rookie of the year. So, Rob, I don't know what you think about those numbers. If that's doable or that's a little high, but so that's kind of what we're looking as far as the stuff. They're already scheming some two-way packages for him in Jacksonville right now.
Yeah. Look, I think he could have the biggest impact as a rookie. I don't know if he'll be offensive or defensive rookie of the year, but I think because he'll have an impact on both sides of the ball, I think he can have the biggest overall impact of any rookie in the National Football League this season, right? Jacksonville's going to have 15, 20 package plays, at least 10 on offense, right? And then the impact he's going to have on the defensive side of the ball. So when we look at his overall impact, obviously I think Cam Ward, and I think he's the topic we're going to get to a little later. I think Cam Ward is also going to have a huge impact as a rookie as well. But I think overall, I can't see another rookie having as big as an impact overall than Travis Hunter. I wouldn't even be surprised they haven't returned kicks at some point this year too. He's that special of a talent, right? And that's why Jacksonville went up to get him, because they realize, hey, you can get the kind of player that can have an impact on both sides of the football. How often does a player like that come around? Jacksonville went up and got him. I mean, if he's healthy, I just can't see a player having a bigger impact than him.
Well, they know what they're getting from this guy. They're getting a phenomenal athlete. I think he's more inclined to win defensive rookie of the year, because I'm thinking on the offensive side, they're going to scheme for him. They're going to put him in positions, not where he's going to be having a 1,000-yard season or a 900-yard season. I don't see that. Really don't see that happening. But I see them using him, inside the red zone for those tough catches that he can make. I see that happening, but that's not going to add up to huge yards, but it is going to add up to productivity. I think he has definitely what it takes to be the defensive rookie of the year. He's just that talented. And I think he will, like you said, Rob, I think he'll have a huge impact for their team, probably the most impact of any of the rookies coming out.
Yeah. And look, I think that AFC South is wide open, to be honest with you, right? Houston struggled at the end of the year. C.J. Stroud struggled at the end of the year. There's no Tank Dell in that offense. They did draft the 2 wide receivers from Iowa State, and all indications are they've had a great offseason with the Houston Texans. So we'll see. I mean, they traded Larry Tunsil to the Washington Commanders. So how big of an impact that's going to hurt their offensive line as well. I still think Houston is the favorite, but I don't think it's a lot, right? If Cam Ward goes off as a rookie, if Trevor Lawrence regains his form, Jacksonville have some pieces on that roster. And watch the Colts. If the Colts can get consistent play on at quarterback, man, they got some weapons on that team. They got weapons on the perimeter. Obviously, we know they have one of the best running backs in the game as well. They got some players on defense. I think this division is wide open. So we'll see what kind of impact Travis Hunter have as far as making Jacksonville a possible division contender.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't think anybody in the division is a Super Bowl contender, but who's going to win the division?
Yeah, it's tough because you have 2 young quarterbacks here. C.J. Stroud took a little step back because teams have figured him out. Obviously, but that's a lot of injuries, right, guys, to the wide receiver core. They keep trying to rebuild that. The Colts, like we talked about, Anthony Richardson is the guy. We don't know what's happening with that. Trevor Lawrence, we keep bringing him up, man. Again, your leash is getting shorter. At this time, you have to prove it. They keep supplying him with weapons, obviously, as far as that. And then, I agree with you as far as Travis Hunter. He's definitely must-see TV, right? I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to perform in the league, man. So that's exciting. It's stuff. I think if you're an impact, maybe edge rush or something like that, again, that may be a situation where if an impact rusher comes in and makes, 10 sacks or something like that, that could be the only person that can kind of unseat him as a rookie of the year. But you got to think of his impact to that team right now too. So, we'll see what happens. with Jacksonville. And like I said, it is a wide open division for sure. And, even though Cam Ward, I'm excited to see him, but he's a young guy too.
Well, I will say, I'll finish this off by saying this, that if they take Travis Hunter and they overwork the kid, if they put him in a whole bunch of plays because he's that talented and have him go out and play defense, or like what you were talking about earlier, if they have him, return punts, whatever, his chances of surviving a long time in this league are not good. So they've got to use him, but they got to.
They'll probably do special moments, Gary. They're not going to do it every single time, but like in a certain part of the game, probably towards the end of the year during the playoff chase, they'll
trust that organization.
Yeah, but that's they're got to pick their moments. I would say whenever they're going to now we need a big play, fourth quarter, something like that. We're behind, all right, now Travis. Now it's going to be heightened. Like, okay, what's going on?
Key third down situations, key red zone situations. He's not going to be an every down offensive player. He shouldn't. But no, Gary, you bring up a good point. And look, they're going to have to be smart with him because this is not the norm in the NFL, in today's NFL, right? It was the norm back in the 50s and 60s, back in those days. But in these days, it's not the norm in the NFL. But they're going to have to be smart with them, right? Obviously, we saw players like Deion Sanders play two sides as well, right? But they only use them in special packages. But I think the key third down conversions, red zone situations, you're down by 3 in the fourth quarter, you need a big play, that kind of thing like that. So he's going to be in the game for special moments.
How skinny
if they use him those special plays, they've got to use him sometimes. Keep him out on the field. Let them, use him as a decoy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah, he's going to be. Yeah,
that's what I'm.
Yeah, because he's going to draw a lot of attention. Whether he gets the ball or not, he's going to draw a lot of attention. So I think it's going to be a little bit of both, to your point, Gary. There'll be some plays in there where he is a decoy, but there'll be some plays in there where, hey, this play is designed for him. We got to get him the football. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be a little bit of both there.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. is a great wide receiver there too, so maybe that'll help out taking a couple of maybe they'll get a chance to take some pressure off of him. But he had a great rookie year too. So again, if you're looking at Trevor,
there was an anonymous NFL general manager poll. What wide receiver is going to have the biggest jump this year? Brian Thomas Jr. was at the top of that list, wide receiver from Jacksonville, and we all know where he went to college.
We're going to leave that alone if you will too, man, because
we come all the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Y'all
remember that?
Did they get a new quarterback down there in Jacksonville?
Oh, here we go.
Nope.
There's the sign.
Egbuka, guys.
Hey, Gary. But C.J. Stroud struggled last year.
Yeah.
The coach got a questionable QB situation. Cam Ward is a rookie. We're expecting big things from him, but is he going to do it as a rookie? I think the division's wide open, even with Trevor Lawrence at the quarterback. I wouldn't write the Jaguars off.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we'll get to
there's no Joe Burrows, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes.
You're right with that division. You could pick any one of those teams.
It should be Jacksonville because of the quarterback, right? So you would think.
And
Houston, so all four of those teams got high quarterbacks that were drafted high in the draft now. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was number 1. C.J. Stroud was number 2. Cam Ward was number 1. Anthony Richardson was number 4. So, I mean, each one of those teams got top 5 picks top 4 picks, actually, at the quarterback position. So you should see some better quarterback play in that division. But, I like to go back to the head coach of Minnesota. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
You're talking about Kevin Mc. I can see it. I can see him. Shoot, quarterback whisperer. Kevin Stefanski.
We all drawing a blank on his name. He's a good coach. I think he's a heck of a coach.
Keep going. Talk about it. Keep going. I'll get it. Why are we drawing a blank for the coach with Minnesota? Hold on. Oh, Vikings.
We're gonna be like, wow.
We got
Kevin
O'Connell. Yeah,
O'Connell.
I was there. I was getting there. I was like,
Kevin O'Connell made a comment last year, and I think it's extremely true. He made a comment that he says NFL teams ruin quarterbacks very quickly because we think they should shine from day one. And he said, look, you're going to have some that will shine from day one, but a lot of them need development and coaching over time, right? And I mean, you see guys like Sam Darnold, who's just starting to come into his own. Geno Smith, who just came to his own late in his career. You can go back to a guy like Rich Kent Gannon. So a lot of times teams give up on a QB too soon. Because the fans want the teams to give up on the quarterback. So the organizations give up on QBs because the fans want them to give up.
Exactly.
So
we'll see we'll see. Sometimes there's some you can see some bust, but like you said, Rob, as a development situation, it's hard to pop, man. Even Peyton Manning, the great Peyton Manning, had the most interceptions his rookie year. They let him play. Troy Aikman had a rough season too in his first year. They were like, he was just getting what happened?
1-15.
1-15, and he's trying to be one of the all-time quarterbacks. What'd you say, Gary?
But they beat Washington.
That's all that matters. Hey, Emeka.
Only Gary will remember that, right? Because
he pick up sticks. I remember that actually. Hey, Emeka Egbuka from the Buccaneers. I hate to report this, but the offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard has actually raved that he has exceeded expectations. He's actually lining him as a wide receiver number 2 opposite Mike Evans with heavy RPO usage. This is from Buccaneer site. So, I mean, we knew that he was a talented wide receiver and right in our division, man. So, Rob, we knew he was going to be I don't think there's any doubt he's going to be a great player.
Yeah, and this is scary, as Andre mentioned, this is a team in our division, and, Tampa is definitely the favorite in the division. And rightfully so. Baker Mayfield's another guy. We talk about the quarterback position, right? Early this year, and now he's probably a top 5 quarterback in the NFC right now, right? The way he's playing. But now you give him Mike Evans. Chris Godwin gets healthy. I'm sorry. When Chris Godwin gets healthy. Emeka Egbuka. That offensive line. Now Tristan Wirfs going to miss some games early part of the season. And then at the end of the year, I don't know if y'all remember this, but they have 3 running backs playing at a high level in this season.
Yeah.
This offense is scary, right? And obviously losing Tristan Wirfs is going to be a big blow because I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 offensive linemen in the game. So early in the season, you might be able to get some pressure on Baker with Wirfs out, right? So we'll see how they're able to combat that. But you better get this team early because if they're healthy, man, look out offensively. They could be a scary team. And if they're improved just a little bit on defense, you have to think they're probably one of the top 4 teams overall in the NFC.
And as I see it, if they improve defensively just a little bit, as you alluded to, Rob, I got them at 11 wins.
Yeah, could be possible. They could be improved. I can't remember. Did they finish 9? No, they finished 10-7.
Yeah, they had a lot of injuries too to the secondary. They just kept dealing with that. Mike Evans went down later on. They had a lot of injuries to the wide receiver, so they kind of bulked up on that. But Baker was doing his gunsling itself, man, and obviously losing Liam Cohen, that's a huge loss, obviously to the Jaguars. But, they keep it rolling. We'll see how that plays out as far as that offensive coordinator. So,
Yeah. The running back from Oregon last year, who they got like
was that Bucky Irvin? Was that Bucky Irvin you're thinking of, or no? Who was that?
Bucky Irvin, yeah. Bucky Irvin was phenomenal last year for him. He was outstanding, running the rock, catching it out of the backfield. He was explosive for him. That was a huge get for the Buccaneers. You got to give. I don't like them, but you got to give them a lot of credit. They've done a phenomenal job building that roster, and whether it's through free agency with guys like Baker Mayfield and sound drafting as well.
Yeah.
Well, you got a guy like Baker Mayfield that really underachieved big time, early in his career. And then he gets a second chance. And then, I had a lot of negative stuff to say about him.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. You're right, Rob. He is top 4 or 5 in the NFC easily.
Yeah, at worst, top 5, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, all the great quarterbacks are mainly in the AFC, right? I mean, when you think of the NFC, I think Jalen Hurts, I think Jaden Daniels. I mean, I think you got to still include Matthew Stafford in that conversation, right? Maybe Jared Goff, maybe Jordan Love. I think Baker Mayfield was right there.
Yeah, good stuff. There it is. Cam Ward, the number overall pick for the Titans, is taking every snap. He did call the Tennessee offense mediocre, and just a learning curve. And I think as fans, we should definitely pump the brakes because I was listening to some good stuff on YouTube about again the fans always like taking notes of stats, and he was 5 for 13 or something like that. And it's not really about that. I think they're just kind of going in there, kind of testing out different plays, getting familiarity. And like we said, some of the times if they're not in pads, I love the there was a note about I think the guy from somebody Kraft, I think he was playing for the Packers, and the ball was getting swatted out, and he's like, "Hey, I would normally stiff arm these guys, but we can't stiff arm because we're just kind of in shorts and shells, man. So we're not able to literally be as physical because they're our teammates. So pump the brakes, fans, and it's just a situation. The testing formations and the defense is kind of again throwing different looks. But he's been getting up, Rob, at 5:30 a.m., having some film sessions. So his work ethic is there. So he's another player I'm very excited to see how he progresses in that Tennessee offense, Rob.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting to watch. I know JQ sent us a text message that he's putting a little something on the Titans to possibly win that division. Cam Ward could possibly have man, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Drawing a lot of blanks tonight.
You're fine. You've been traveling.
I should know him. He's played at LSU.
What are you talking about? You're good? No. So you talking about
quarterback for Commanders.
Oh, Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I don't know why.
That's your guy, man. Come on, it's all good.
I know. But JQ made the comment. I must need a good night's sleep here. JQ made the comment that he think Cam Ward could possibly have a breakout season like Jaden Daniels. And so it's going to be interesting. I don't think he's as explosive as Jaden Daniels. No. I think he might have a similar rookie season to Caleb Williams. But I think Caleb Williams is going to be a lot better this year in year 2. And I think Cam Ward will be a lot better in year 2. So I think Cam Ward have a similar rookie season to Caleb Williams. I think the Titans are still last place in that division. I could see them maybe winning 5 or 6 games at the most. But I do think Cam Ward will be exciting to watch. But he doesn't have the explosiveness like Jaden Daniels does.
No, it'll be fun to see him out there. But, the Titans got him for the reason, they earned that pick. They don't have enough out there. They don't have enough around both the offense and the defense. So they've got a ways to go. I think it'll be lucky if they win 6 games. I'm thinking more like 4 or 5.
Yeah, Rob, it looks like the only receiver that may again draw some fear is maybe Calvin Ridley. Van Jefferson, I'm looking at their depth chart right now. I mean, Tyler Lockett, obviously it's good to have a veteran there. Traylon Burks got released. He's been a disappointment. You got some running backs. You're going to run the ball. You got Tony Pollard from the Dallas, back in the day. You got, Jordan Mims. You don't really have a lot of weapons, if you will. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're going to try to protect him and try to run the ball. But as JQ said, man, you may just want to stack the box and say, beat this rookie. What you going to do? You're going to stack the box, double team Ridley. Who are you going to throw to, man? Maybe Tyler can get open, but pretty much at that situation, you're going to make the rookie. That's going to be very tough as a learning curve in the NFL, man.
Yeah, you look at the top 2 running backs, as you mentioned, Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. They're 2 of the same kind of backs, right? Neither one of them are like big backs, so they definitely got to rotate them in and out of there. But they both. Yeah. And Jordan Williams might be the guy that can really like pound the rock for him. But Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, their best two backs, are both elusive guys and catch the ball out of the backfield, but they're not very big.
Well, they're missing Derrick Henry, aren't they, man? They just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, just kind of make things happen for sure.
Backs don't strike fear in anyone.
Yeah, there it is.
That's.
But they're both the kind of running backs, though. If you get them out in space, they are explosive. They take it to the house, but they're not going to run over anyone.
No,
Take to the house. Let's get this. I want to talk about the Cowboys and what's happening in camp. Really quickly, Trey Hendrickson, his holdout is over. He reported Wednesday. It looks like he called his absence selfish and is pledging to avoid distractions. So there you go.
That's interesting, right? I wouldn't have called his holdout selfish. I think he's holding out for what he believes he earned. I mean, for a better contract, right? And you look at guys what T.J. Watt is getting. You look at what Myles Garrett is getting his contract. Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks, not the last year, but the last 2 years, right? So I think he's holding out for what I think he deserves. Now, I think that was very unselfish of him to come back in the camp.
Agent speak.
And I think it was very unselfish of him while he's still battling the contract issue to come back. Now, look, let's face it. This Cincinnati Bengal team, if everything clicks right for them, this team is a Super Bowl contender. They got one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game. Jamar Chase arguably is the best receiver in the game. T. Higgins is probably the best number 2 receiver in the game on this team. If they make the right improvements on their offensive line and in their defense, which they need Trey Hendrickson, they drafted Shamar Stewart, they got some other reinforcements on that defense. They won the last 5 games. We've known over the history of football when a team ends the season hot, a lot of times it carries over to the next season.
Except Cincinnati.
Except
Cincinnati.
Oh man, I wish JQ was on here to hear that.
I mean, it's gonna hit, and he already knows it because he's talked about it himself. Last several years, they've done. They've achieved, and then they got everything together, and then it, bites them in the ass in the end.
Yeah, but they need Trey Hendrickson on that team, really building up the defense. If everything's right,
I totally agree with you. I thought it was very unselfish for a player to, that's the business side of it. And we all understand that is the business side of it. Players hold out.
Yeah.
Players negotiating their contracts. Besides, sometimes us fans don't like, but we absolutely understand business is business. And for him to come back and start participating, that was huge.
Yeah. No,
I was totally impressed with that.
Look, if I have to predict right now who's going to win that division, I'm going to go Ravens, but I got the Bengals too. But I think it's close. I mean, I think it's really close. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals win that division and have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. I mean, they went a few years ago with Joe Burrow against the Rams in L.A. If everything clicks right, this is a team that has a possible chance to compete for a championship.
Anytime you got a quarterback like they have, and they've made improvements to their offensive line, and they've got the best number 1 and number 2 receiver combo in the league,
look out.
You've got a chance. You've got a good chance.
Yeah. And Chase Brown, I thought, came on at the second half of the season tremendously, the running back position for the Bengals, too. Elusive guy, and he can run it and he can catch it out of the backfield, which Joe Burrow really likes, even going back to his LSU days in the backfield. So Chase Brown adds that element to that offense as well. It's definitely.
Who's their tight end?
It's the guy that got from the Dolphins.
They were talking about tight end.
Mike, is it Mike Galecki, if I'm pronouncing his name right? He's a solid tight end.
It may be, but what they were talking about their tight end and how great he was, and Joe Burrow was talking about how that's going to be such a help, because you got to put so much emphasis on guarding your 1 and 2 receivers that that's going to be a really good, go-to guy for him.
Yeah.
In a pinch, got to get it out. So I think they're set at. Was talking about they were pretty set at the tight end spot, receiver, offensive line help, top 5 quarterback. They are going to be one of the teams to beat in the NFC, unless something next.
Yep. So Gary, what do you think about the Brian Schottenheimer not happy with Cowboys fights in camp so far?
Well, he's trying to, put a stop to some of this pushing and shoving and punches. And there was this offensive tackle, Cornelius, that apparently punched another player. Apparently, they determined that it was this Cornelius that started, this whole brouhaha, I guess. So they sent him to the locker room, and the coach said that if there's any more punches like that, you're going to be sent to the locker room or worse.
Wow, or worse.
He said, then at the end of the practice, they all had to do wind sprints, the whole team. So they probably were not too happy with that. But we see that every year, and every single team has this. You've got players, that are these guys are all alpha dogs that are trying out for these teams. They've got to make a name for themselves. They've got to make a splash. There's only so many of those positions available. Tensions are high.
Yep.
Cuts are coming.
You're absolutely right. This is, you follow the Cowboys. I follow the Saints. I think Brandon Cooks have gotten into some fights already in the Saints camp. So this is every team has this issue in camp. And I think what it is too, you're going up against the same people every day in camp, right? And you can't waste the faith. You can't wait to face somebody new. Because when you're going against your own team in practice, they know all of your moves and it frustrates you and things of that nature. And then all the fights get started. And so this is very typical of NFL training camps every year. Obviously, you don't want it to get out of hand where it's disruptive to practice, but this is the norm in NFL training camps.
So far, he has won a game, but I've been watching, different clips and stuff of how he's handled the team and his leadership so far and people he's put around him. So far, I'm liking it. If it equates to wins or at least even not wins, competitive play. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
They call that team bonding, gentlemen, whenever the fights are going on, as long as you're not throwing too many punches. Just don't be kissing players like Christian Wilkins. Apparently that's a problem. I'm just joking. But you definitely want to you like that competitive, fire, like you said, Rob. You've been practicing with each other, and as long as you don't get too crazy, you're swinging helmets, and you got to protect the team. So if you have siblings, you know how that situation goes. Whenever you fight your siblings, but you love each other, like I love my brother. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for everything staying on the field, and after the field, we can still hang out and enjoy that and kind of do it for the team. So that's the goal, I would say.
Hey man, Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas just kiss each other on the cheek.
We're not doing that, man. We're not bringing that back, man. Let's do a quick update on the NFC North, Rob. And believe it or not, obviously, I was looking at a couple of numbers, and they're saying that the Lions are still the slim favorites, thanks again to that, Gibbs Montgomery backfield. Obviously, what's been going on with that deep wide receiver room. Bears and Packers are live, and the Vikings are resetting, obviously, not having Sam Darnold giving the reins to J.J. McCarthy. And so we got blind for it, still have the great defense. You have the quarterback whisperer, Kevin O'Connell. We can't remember his name. But we'll see if the Lions are able to overcome the loss of two dynamic coordinators, and that was my challenge. I still think they're a talented team, but can they overcome losing two of their their coordinators, Rob?
Yeah, I think this is one of the best divisions in football, and I think this division, every team wins at least 9 games in this division. So I think every team in this division will have a winning record this year. I think the Lions still are the favorite in the division.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll win as many games as they did last year. Maybe 1 or 2 less, or maybe 3 less. Excuse me.
So what did they win last year? 13 games?
They won a ton. I'll check and see.
Won like 15, right?
Yeah, they were up there. They only lost the 2 games like in the playoffs, obviously. They lost. Yeah, that was crazy. Keep going.
They were 15-2, right?
Yeah, 15-2. Yeah.
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 So I think at worst, they win 12 games this year. I don't think they'll win 15. I think it'll be slightly lower than that, but I still think they're the team to beat in that division. Ultimately, we know the game of football comes down to the Johnny and Joes before the X's and O's, right? And they have the Johnny and Joes. When you look at the 1-2 punch they have at the running back position, you say what you want about Jared Goff. He's a quality NFL starting quarterback. Lions have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They have great receivers on the perimeter. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Sam Laporta is one of the best receiving tight ends in the game.
Yep.
And now you get Aiden Hutchinson back on that defense. You get a lot of those players from that defense are coming into the season healthy. And who knows? I mean, that defense was so banged up in the playoffs. We saw the Commanders just run roughshod over them in the playoffs and put 45 points on them. If the Lions can have that defense healthy, this team is still a Super Bowl contender. And that's what cost them ultimately on last year. So I think the Lions are still the favorite. I think the Packers are the number 2 team. I think they have a quality defense. They've improved their offensive line. Getting Matthew Golden, who some people think might be the best wide receiver in this draft, and they need it for Jordan Love. When you look at this team, when they lost in the playoffs to the Eagles, the 2 biggest weaknesses was the receiver position and the offensive line. The offensive line was mainly because of injuries, right? And so the Packers have made some adequate additions there, and their defense was already pretty solid. So I like them at number 2. Now, here's where it gets surprising. I got the Bears number 3. I got them moving up. And I think the Ben Johnson effect, you say what you want about Dennis Allen. I think he's a heck of a defensive coordinator. I know Saints fans probably don't want to hear that, but ultimately, when he was a defensive coordinator, he was one of the best in the league. And the Bears will play some really good defense, and Ben Johnson will have that offense driving. Caleb Williams, I think, will make a natural progression into year 2. They improved the offensive line. Now, some of Caleb's issue last year was on him. He held the ball too long, not getting rid of the football. So Ben Johnson not only improved the offensive line, but the next thing he's got to do, he's got to get Caleb Williams to get rid of the football. I got the Bears slightly ahead of the Vikings. And I think J.J. McCarthy starts the season slow for the Minnesota team. I think he get hot at the end of the year. I think they win at least 9 games, but they finish last place in the division. Or I could see the Bears and the Vikings both being at 9 games and be like a three-way tie. This is one of the best divisions of football, along with the AFC North and AFC West, in my opinion. And really, you throw the NFC East in there too. I think the NFC East with the Eagles, Commanders, and Cowboys too.
Yeah, I had those. I had that same. I do believe that the Lions are the team to beat in that division, and I had Green Bay at 2. And I thought I was going to shock everyone by saying I had Chicago at 3. And then you go and ruin my thunder, Rob.
My bad.
I only have the Vikings winning 7 games. I don't have them winning 9 games.
Yeah. The only reason I got them winning 9, I know they're going to – J.J. McCarthy technically will be a rookie this season because he missed all of last year. But their rosters are stacked. When you look at Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison at the wide receiver position. I think Brian Flores, one of the best defensive coordinators in the game.
Yeah.
So I think from a coaching staff perspective, Kevin O'Connell or O'Donnell, whatever his name is, is an offensive guy, and then Brian Flores on the defense. I think from a coaching staff perspective, they're going to, and Dallas Turner, from all indications, looking like he's going to make a huge leap for the Vikings on the defensive side of the ball. He could be a poor man's Michael Parsons this year, right? And so I think all indications he's going to make a big jump for the Minnesota Vikings on the defensive side of football. So I just think they're just too well coached and too talented. I just think the quarterback play is what's going to hold them down a little bit early in the season.
What's going to hold down these teams in these divisions that you mentioned are each other. Playing everybody, 7 times, 8 times. You play your division foe, and in these divisions, you're going to have teams that split. So let's say you lose 3 or 4 games in your division, you don't have a lot of room with the rest of your schedule for losses to win the division or to make the playoffs. That's what's going to be tough for all of these divisions that you mentioned. So we'll see how that plays out, and of course injuries. But as it stands right now, I think that all those teams are solid teams. I don't have as much confidence in the Vikings, but I do think that it will affect Detroit losing their coordinators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I think Detroit will not win 15 games. Right? We already talked about that. And I think they'll have an adjustment period, but I think in the end their talent is just too strong. When you look at from offensive defense side of football, if they're healthy, wow. They're just super stacked on their roster.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's move on. This is an interesting topic here that I know I've got some hits regarding. This was talking about the Lakers, the 2020 championship. This is right up Gary's alley because I know how much he loves the Lakers. But should it have an asterisk to that championship team? And Daryl Morey, I guess he was with the Rockets at the time, has spoke that due to that was during the COVID season, and they're like should have an asterisk because privately that's what everyone said in the league, that it wasn't a genuine championship. LeBron may have said something about that, but to help his legacy. But I do think it does kind of have an interesting topic of that as far as no fans, nobody in the stands. They had an injury-prone Anthony Davis, Rob, and they were able to win versus the Heat, in 6,
Yeah. Well, here's my take on it, right? Would Daryl Morey feel that way if the Rockets won a championship?
Of course not. He said it would have been legitimate.
Yeah, exactly, right? And that's my thing. And I even thought about it from my standpoint. If the Pelicans won a championship that year, would I feel like there should be an average? Now, I'm not a Lakers fan by any means. I know Gary's not a Lakers fan by any means. But if we're being fair here, if the Pelicans won that title, man, I would have been partying in the streets.
Absolutely.
If the Blazers won that title, I'm sure Gary would have been partying from Portland to Florida with gear on every day. And the same thing for Andre if the Hawks have won that title, right?
It is. I was waiting for.
So I think you got to give credit. That was a difficult year for a lot of people when you think about the pandemic standpoint. So I don't think it was easy for any team to win a title in that circumstance, playing in front of no fans, away from your family, in a bubble. I don't think that was necessarily an easy situation either. So I disagree with the asterisk because if anybody else won that title, they would feel like that's legitimate. And that wasn't an easy situation to play in.
No.
For anyone. So
exactly what I would say.
Go ahead, Gary. Sorry.
That's exactly what I would say. No, I'm not a Laker fan, but cannot put an asterisk by that. Absolutely not. because all the teams were in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree.
No fans, completely different scenario, and they went out there and they won the championship. There's no asterisk by it. Absolutely not. I wish I could say that there was, but honestly, you're right. If it were the Blazers, I would have been going to the parade as soon as the pandemic was over with, just like you guys would with your teams. So absolutely no way is there an asterisk by their championship.
I'm gonna be the JQ. I think that obviously you have to put something to that because we know that it was a difficult time for everyone, but it was just it's not this. It's tough, man, because that was a COVID season, so it wasn't. And I'm not gonna say yes if the Hawks won, I wouldn't be.
Every team had the same rules, like Gary mentioned. Every team played.
It was just unique. Like, man, that was a unique year, So I'm not saying yes, no, but
it might have been a unique. Right. But it's every team was under the same exact.
I understand that. I'm just saying, there's no fans to throw you off your game and talk ish or all of that. So it's interesting.
Some players thrive off of the fans too. So I think it's a difficult. That was something the players all had to adjust to, right?
Absolutely.
They all had to adjust. And now look, 1999, we had an NBA shortened season. There were some people think that Spurs title should have an asterisk next to it. I don't think that one has an asterisk next to it too. I go back to the same thing. If it was your team that won it, would you want an asterisk next to it?
Well, that's the thing. It's you won the championship. We get all that. I go back to the 1990s whenever Georgia Tech and Michigan they had the co-title. That's how far back controversy goes back for me. So I get that. I totally.
If my team won the Summer League championship, I'm going to celebrate.
It's all about the shit. That's hilarious. Pickleball championship, Rob. The pickleball championship. You gonna celebrate that? The pickleball championship. You gonna celebrate that too?
You name it.
Hot dog eating contest. You gonna celebrate that?
Hey, man, I celebrated LSU winning the national championship in baseball, which is an incredible accomplishment. But still, I celebrated that just like it was NBA or NFL championship.
This guy.
When LSU, when Angel Reese and then won the college basketball championship. Yeah, celebrated that too. So you celebrate the victories. They don't always come, right? So you celebrate those moments. I don't think the 1999 Spurs title should have an asterisk next to it. I know Shaq used to always say that back in the day. But look, every team played those 50-something games. They still had to win 16 playoff games to win that championship. Even in the bubble, they had to win 16 games in the playoffs. The NBA playoffs is grueling, right? So 16-game bubble. The 1999 Spurs had to still win 16 playoff games, and that's grueling to do that. So I don't think either one of those should be an asterisk because I would sure like for my team to have won them.
Talk about some sneaky good moves in the NBA, and I gotta throw in some some prognostication for the Hawks and Porzingis here. So, what do you think about that?
As far as we could talk about the Hawks too in a second, but I think as far as sneaky good moves, I think the couple of moves the New York Knicks made, getting Jordan Clarkson. If you saw the playoffs, the Knicks Tom Thibodeau was only playing 6 guys, right? And I think for them to take that next step, they have to add some depth to their roster. Getting Jordan Clarkson to come off the bench and flat out stroke it, man, he can shoot the rock, right? And getting Gershon Yabusele, who's with the Sixers last year. If you saw him in the Olympics France last year, he's a beast. And getting him to come in and play a certain role for that team and getting some depth. So I think those are some quality moves for the New York Knicks. Another sneaky move for the Cavs, getting Lonzo Ball. Now, the question is if Ball is going to be healthy. But if Ball is healthy, then he can facilitate the basketball. It gives him another guy that can run an offense. He's a heck of a defensive player, right? So I think that was a quality, quiet pickup for the Cavaliers as well.
I didn't even hear. That is a good move.
What, Lonzo Ball?
Lonzo Ball can suck it, man. That dude can suck it all the way to back to his California days, man. He was talking junk about the Hawks, man. He can suck it. Him and Tyrese, man, they can both suck it. And Pascal, yeah, him too. Halliburton, him as well. All the way.
Oh, man.
All the way.
Wow.
That's right.
And you know what? Another quiet move, Tyus Jones to the Magic. Gives them another ball handler. I thought with Phoenix best last year. Yeah. So I thought Tyus Jones going to Orlando Magic was a sneaky good move. Obviously, we know about the big name moves. Yeah. Obviously, we're going to talk about some under radar pickups. And those are just some under the radar pickups that I had.
Tyus Jones went to that disaster of a team called the Suns. The Hawks actually made an offer to him. He chose the Suns. He didn't want to be a backup. He wanted to start. And he disproved that it was kind of challenging because he was a defensive liability for the Suns. And, obviously we'll see how he fits with the Magic. He didn't have to have that much pressure on him there. But I agree with him. They needed a point guard. That's a really good move for them.
Yeah. I think Tyus Jones has got to realize who he is. He's a backup point guard.
I know, but he was just like, I'm going to start. I'm like, I don't know, dude.
He's a backup player that can come in and run the offense for you off the bench.
He's going to be great. He's a great backup. Yeah. I mean, he wanted to start.
Realize who he is.
Yeah, he wanted to start. That was not a good move. I still like what the Hawks did. I know we're going to talk. I know I was a little aggressive with 60 wins. Maybe it's like 50 or so. I
think you really believe that, though.
Man, but it's hard. I got to have confidence, man. So I'm like, I like the additions. Getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker. We got Luke Kennard. I love our draft. Getting Asa Newell. And we got some depth piece. Jalen Johnson's coming back. Jackie Ruiche has been putting in work. He's actually a little bit more added some muscle. So that was a great move for us. Trey is ready to kind of do his thing. There's no excuses. Then obviously getting Porzingis, and you already had Emeka and Kongu, so you had him that was developing too. So you surrounded Trey with shooters. You got some defense for him. You got some depth. Ansei is doing some good things. They swindled the Pelicans. I'm sorry, Rob, for that pick. I can't believe we got that first round draft pick for you guys next year. That's going to be crazy. That's a great draft next year too, man. So we'll see. We're not predicting. I don't want the Pelicans to be bad, but I'm just like, it's Pelicans or Bucks, man. It's going to be interesting to see how that pick conveys, man. So
there's half the league that feel like the Pelicans made a good move, and then there's another half that feel like that was a bad move. So I don't
know about the good move, Rob. I don't know, man. I know that's a little
bit. You go and look now. Look, I when you look at the Pelicans draft, if you grade it just on the players, you would give them an A. But I can't give them an A until I figure out what happens with that pick next year. So I gave them a B.
That's fair.
So there's some, like Kendrick Perkins. He was like, man, he says the Pelicans are getting Derek Queen. He said that's baby Jokic. He said he's going to be a heck of a player. So there's some analysts. I think the players the Pelicans got in the draft was outstanding.
Yep.
If they didn't trade a pick to get Derek Queen, I would give him an A. So right now I have to say that I'm gonna give him a B until I figure out what happens next year. So there's some scouts that think that was a bad move by trading that pick, but there's some scouts like, man, getting Derek Queen in addition to Jeremiah Fears was a heck of a draft. So I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not going to give him an A. I'm not going to give him a C either. Right. I'm going to say, hey, you're going to get a B, and we got to figure out how these rookies play, and then what that draft pick turns out to be next year.
I'm just saying, Rob, I'm not talking junk. I was just like, I was reading the articles. They called twice. Are you sure this is what you want? Yeah. Really? The GM, like, is that what he really said? You had to, like, your mom checking in. Did you really trade that coat for them shoes? Yeah, I did, Mom. Let me call the mom. Did you really do that?
Yeah, I read the same story. Like I said, there's a mix that believes that was a great trade. Then there's another mix that feels like, I don't know what Joe Dumars was thinking there. So,
but I mean, you got to have conviction, like you said. If you're swinging for the fences, you're trying to, grand slams, and that's what you got to do. So if it turns out good, then you give them props. But if it doesn't, you got to get the other side of that too. That's with anything. Anything can be the case. So at least you got to get them heart for making the move. But we're going to take because we're like, man, we've got some good moves. We got, unfortunately, DeJounte Murray hasn't been healthy, so we got some picks for that. We got Dyson Daniels. We're loving that move. And we're getting that pick too.
Well, come sometime between April and June, I'll have a better analysis of the draft grade.
Yeah, that's fair.
Derek Queen, he was outstanding in the summer league. Big guy bringing the ball up the court. I can see why they call him Baby Jokic.
Yeah.
Because he's fundamentally sound. He's not the most athletic big, but Jokic isn't either. But he's got a great basketball IQ. He can shoot the ball, bring the ball up the court, great court vision, good passer.
Yeah.
Good rebounder. So we'll see what happens. He
And
got a wrist injury though, so he's going to be out to October now. So that hurt.
Well, and anytime extra draft capital in an upcoming draft that is supposedly going to be solid,
Yeah.
So,
technically, it was one first-round pick trade for another first-round pick. It's just a matter of where that first-round pick is going to be in next year's draft. Yeah. So technically, it was one first-round pick for another, and Joe Dumars is gambling that Derek Queen is going to be good. He's going to be a heck of a player. So that's his gamble.
We shall see. We're going to wrap this up here. I do want to kind of target some last topics here. It's pretty interesting that the Grizzlies and the Magic will play some regular season games on January the 15th in Berlin and January the 18th in London. They're opening up a 3-year, 6-game European slate. I think that's pretty exciting. Obviously, we know that the NBA is pretty much global at this juncture, and it does nothing, I think, but to enhance the game. And I think this is a good move. Obviously, it'd be great to go and kind of check that out. So I'm looking for you guys. Maybe we can do a trip to Europe to kind of see a game. I think it'd be fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we see this a lot with the leagues now, just trying to get that global presence as well, right? Hey, look, well, we haven't had a lot of NBA players from London. I know that's an area where the NBA really would still like to grow the game of basketball in general. But obviously, Germany, we've had a lot of NBA players from Germany, right?
Yeah.
But the NBA is just trying to expand the game globally. And look, the NBA is in heavy conversation about expansion right now, right? And the NBA, out of all the leagues here in America, is probably the most set up to expand right now. And I'll tell you why. Because the NBA can pull from talent from all over the world right now. I mean, the game of basketball is big in Croatia, France, Germany, Brazil, Argentina, Australia. So they can pull players from almost anywhere in the globe. And baseball, to a certain degree, can do that too. And so they're in position to expand because there's enough good players around the world to fulfill NBA rosters. And so, I know there's some talk about Seattle and Vegas, but this is just another example of them just trying to expand the game of basketball for more people around the globe can not only see it, but also play it.
I would have liked to have seen France and Spain. I would like to have seen them play in those countries instead of
they're coming, Gary. They're coming.
Berlin and London.
They're coming. I think, as Rob said, there's more. They want to kind of expand the game in London to kind of get some more exposure. But that's, Real Madrid is in Spain, as you know. There's a lot of talent in France, man. So that's, that is, I think, no doubt.
France is insane right now.
So,
a lot of talent they put down.
I think it's just a matter of time, I would say. But yeah,
those two countries first.
Yeah, I get you.
It's crazy. A lot of people forget, but in last year's NBA draft, the top 2 picks in the draft was from France.
Yeah,
that's
Wemby was the year before, so there you go.
Yeah,
3 years. So yeah, the top 3 players from France were some talented players. It didn't happen this year, obviously, but there's some high, some.
But they had a lot of players drafted this year. They maybe didn't have like the top 5 picks, France, this year.
We used to have a lot.
They had a lot of depth. They got drafted.
We used to have a lot of players from Spain too at the time. Manu Ginobili, Rob back in the day. Tony Parker's from France, but they had some, really, Ricky Rubio was kind of doing this thing. You thought he was going to be like the next big point guard. He kind of unloaded those expectations, and no one has been able to kind of, relive Dirk Nowitzki, but they're kind of making some progress here. So good stuff.
Yeah. And look, I thought one of the best players I saw in the summer league was Johan Berenger from France with Minnesota. And he was outstanding in the summer league. I mean, that kid was blocking shots, rebounding, scoring around the rim. And Minnesota might have a steal with that 17th pick from France. He was outstanding in the summer league. I don't think it was too many rookies better than him in the summer league from what I saw. He was flat out phenomenal. Timberwolves probably got a steal there.
There it is.
I know I'm mispronouncing his last name. It has like a French sound to it. I know in America we were reading Berenger, but I forget how they pronounce it.
It's accent aigu for that. Let's go, Gary. What did you want to do for your topic here to get ready to wrap up the show? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, let's talk about Deion Sanders. He just had some surgery and bladder cancer.
Yeah.
Man, I wish him the best. I hope he's making full recovery. Sounds like he's going to, and he's going to be on the sidelines. So I'm wishing him all the best as a former Cowboy.
Yeah. Yeah, I echo those sentiments. Obviously, first and foremost, wishing him all the best with his health. It sounds like he is healed and recovered from it, but obviously we want to pray that continues, continue to head in the right direction.
Classy move from Brett Key. I'm sorry, Rob, from the coach for Georgia Tech, because we're playing them in our opening game, and he just wanted to say wish him as well, and he hopes that he is healing. And he's got ex-Bucks OC Brian Leftwich and the ex-Jaguar quarterback, the Falcons quarterback. Byron Leftwich is going to oversee QB development, and it's going to be tough because you're replacing Shador, you're replacing Travis Hunter. I think they got Julian Lewis and Kadion Salter, I think, as some transfers coming in. Yep. So I don't know how Colorado's going to be, because that's going to be really tough shoes to fill. So I'm happy that we're playing him early in the year, so we may be able to get him. But we do hope that he does heal as well, for sure.
Well, Deion on his press conference, he gave a huge shout out to Randy Moss, who called him every single day to check on him.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. And looking at Colorado Buffaloes from a football perspective, Andre, you touched on the Julian Lewis, 5-star recruit from the Atlanta area, right?
Yeah.
Who was initially considering Georgia and USC, but decided to go to Colorado. Obviously, I don't know if he's going to be able to have an impact as a rookie. They got transfer quarterback from Liberty, who I think they're leaning toward as a starting quarterback. Day one with Julian Lewis being there. And look, Deion said he thinks it's going to be easier coaching a team without his sons on the team, right? Sometimes you have that perception that you always favor your sons over anybody else on the roster. And now he doesn't have that hanging over his head. So we'll see. On the surface, I think there'll be a middle of the pack Big 12 team.
Yeah.
Arizona State's got Sam Levitt back at quarterback. They got Jordan Tyson back at wide receiver. So I know they're not going to have Cam Scatterboo. But they're going to have a great wide receiver quarterback combo. So you got to think Arizona State's going to be in that conversation for the Big 12. You got to think Kansas State's going to be in that conversation with Avery Johnson back at the quarterback position, dual threat option for them there. So you got to think those two teams are probably the favorites there. I'm going to close out, and I'm going to go back to the NBA a little bit here. We was talking about the Atlanta Hawks. And going into the season, my top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. Number 1, I'm going to go with Cleveland. Cleveland had the best record. Obviously, they folded in the semifinals. I think getting a guy like Ball to add to their rotation. And they have probably the talented starting lineup. When you look at Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, man, he had that afro tight at his wedding. I don't know if you saw those videos. But also, the backcourt that they have, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's got to get over the hump of the playoffs. He hasn't got past the second round You don't want to be the James Harden of the playoffs, right?
They lost Ty Jerome though, Rob. They did lose Ty Jerome though. The Cavaliers did. He's on with the
yeah. But I think they still got enough depth on that roster, getting ball to help facilitate. So I got the number 1. I got the Knicks number 2 in the East. I think getting some more bench depth. I think Mike Brown is a very underrated coach. I never understood why he's gotten fired twice. I think he's a really good coach. I got the Knicks at the number 2 spot. I got the Orlando Magic moving up to 3 with some of the moves that they've made. And a lot of this is due to Boston doesn't have Jason Tatum, and also Indiana doesn't have Tyrese Halliburton. So that kind of moves Orlando up 3 in my book. That moves Detroit up to 4 in my book. And that moves the Atlanta Hawks up to 5, right? And we talk about some teams that still got some work to do this offseason. Milwaukee Bucks, I think, not having Dame Lillard, they got to get Giannis some more help. And I think Golden State still needs to figure out what's going to happen with Kuminga. They got to get him some help. And even though I got the Knicks up to number 2 and they've got some more depth, I still think they need another move too, as well. So those are some teams that I think can still use work this offseason.
I just hope the coaching change is going to be huge because, again, Tom Thibodeau, even though he played like 6 players, he tried to get them to play defense, and they played defense as best as they could. So I do worry that they didn't want to play as much. They don't want to play defense this year. I do agree that Mike Brown is a hell of a coach. So you like the move, but I just wonder if they're going to regress slightly because of, being a little bit more lax. But the talent is there for sure.
Yes.
So,
it's nothing like he in that Madison Square Garden, Oregon in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Doom, doom.
Yeah.
Nothing like hearing that Oregon in the
good for the
playoffs.
NBA for them to be good. Obviously, it's just. I don't have any backlash because that. Obviously, just we'll see what happens if the Cavs stay healthy with any team. I like the progression of what the Hawks did. I mean, I'm hoping. I'm not going to talk any more junk because it's very surprising and scary for us to get like a lot of love. And we're like, whoa, what? Because we've been shit on for so many times that we're finally getting a lot of love across the league, and it's kind of unsettling. You're like, oh, okay, they expect us to do, well, the East is wide open. But I love the moves, man. So we shored up a lot of things for sure. So
Yeah.
let's get it.
They're going to be competitive.
You got a chance.
But you like Detroit. Those are good picks. Detroit's going to do some things, with Cade Cunningham. You like that, obviously, yeah. Orlando made moves, man. So you got to seize that, man. So you got to be aggressive. So it's going to be a very interesting division next year, to say the least. I want to talk about a couple things. I'm tripping out with St. John's. Rick Pitino got the number 1 transfer class, man. He got like Ian Jackson, Bryce Hopkins. I mean, they were already for BetMGM. They were kind of in the top as far as the title odds. You got Houston, you got Purdue, Duke, UConn. That's some early favorites, and then you got St. John's up there too. It's crazy with that already. As far as in that momentum that St. John had from last year is going to keep going. And Rick Pitino, he's just dealing, man. So serious about that. 5-star wing, what is it? Sanaya Hall committed to USC. Giving the Trojans back-to-back top classes. Sorry, Gary, I know you hate USC, but that was just crazy how they get.
Topic I wrote, SC, who cares?
Fair.
Well, this is women's basketball. They're not thriving in
that is women's basketball.
Right.
They got top back-to-back class. I thought it was interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, USC. I was looking at that. I was like, what? That was interesting. They got
may not have Juju Watkins. She got hurt in the tournament. So they're not going to have her this upcoming season. But when she comes back in 2026, her and Sanaya Hall, look out. USC women's basketball, they'll be in a conversation for possible national contender.
Yankees trading, who's it? They traded a pitcher to us. Was it Tarasco or something like that? I was like, what? He was in AAA. I was like, here we go. Appreciate that. That's got to be scary. We're trading like a AAA pitcher. I'm like, what is this about, man? This is a free-for-all right now, man. Braves are just Acuna's out with the 60-day IL for a hamstring. It's a tough season for the Braves now. We just have all kind of our pitching staff is decimated. I don't even know what the hell's happening with that, man. So that's what it is.
Yeah, well, our Yankees are hanging on by thread.
Yeah, well. You guys got Austin Slater, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll see. And they got McMahon from the Colorado Rockies, so hopefully we can get some more bats in line. But Aaron Judge is out right now too, so that's a big blow.
Inconsistent offense, unreliable defense, and struggling bullpen. That doesn't spell confidence in my Yankees.
No.
Yeah.
Somehow they're still the top wild card team in the American League, but they're an average ball club right now at best.
On paper they're right where you're saying for the wild card spot, but I think if that were to stay the same, they would be the weakest in the playoffs and get bumped out right away.
Yeah. Hey, the Blue Jays are playing the best baseball in the American League right now. Playing the best ball in the National League. But in the National League, you still got to watch the Dodgers. You still got to watch the Phillies. And you still got to watch the Mets. The National League is going to be interesting. But right now, the Blue Jays right now are just red hot.
Killing it.
Yeah.
Go.
They're red hot in the American League.
Wrap it up.
Fun to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up this edition. Next week, we coming at you Monday night. We already set. What are we doing? 10 o'clock Eastern on Monday night? So that's going to be, for those of you all in Atlanta and New York, that's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern time. We want y'all to tune in. We'll be talking some NFL, college football, NBA, all of the above, Major League Baseball. So you definitely want to tune in. And we'll be back 10 o'clock Eastern Monday night. That's going to be 7 o'clock for those of you all in Seattle, Portland, here in Las Vegas. It's going to be 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Monday night, tune in again. We're going to be back. Good night, everyone.
We appreciate the viewers. We had some views on Facebook, and we have a view on our YouTube channel, another 12th Man Sports. So we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to view us on those platforms and keep going with some comments. I know it's kind of late tonight. We just wanted to get a show in for this week. So we apologize for the late time, and we know that people are probably getting ready for work. Shout out to JQ and everything. But again, we're here. Yeah, so we appreciate you guys for sure. So
shout out to you. And also I'd like to say I'm really sorry that I didn't have the full screen. I'm on my cell phone. I couldn't get the volume working on my computer. But I was so excited because you guys can't tell, but I started growing my hair out. Anyway, good night, everyone.
This guy here.
Oh, Gary, a lot of love. Shout out. We appreciate you, Arnetta, too. So, hey, guys.
Yes.
Chat's going. Talk to you guys next. Look at Jill.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks for tuning in. Good shout out. Good show.
Wow. We'll talk about that later.
Thank you,
guys.